I was looking at the box score from the exhibition and noticed that that Rob and TJ didn't see the floor, at least according to this thing. Was that injury related, or is that a coach decision, or kind of what went into that?
That was a program decision and stuff. So no real story there. They just didn't play in that game.
I want to ask about Sean doing a little something on him. Just I guess with what we saw in the exhibition, it didn't sound like that. It sounded like that was something we'd seen in practice too. What's kind of his ceiling this year, and maybe what sort of element does he bring to the program that you're excited to get from the portal?
Sean Padulla. Yeah, Sean Padulla's a good player. He's an all ACC player at Virginia Tech. Played in the NCAA tournament, played in championship games. We actually coached against him. Sean's freshman year, we played those guys in the NCAA tournament. I think Padulla was the leading scorer on their team. Sean's a lot like our other transfers, not only this year, but guys we've had in the past. He's got an individual body of work that's undeniable. The amount of points he's scored and the big games he's played. So I think the job that he has here, what we need done, I think coincides well with his future plans as well, is to never lose his fearless kind of scoring abilities, much like Juju, but to also embrace the playmaking part of the point guard spot, both offensively and defensively. On defense, it always starts with those guys up top with the ball pressure. And then on offense, just the assist to turnover ratio, field goal percentages, and obviously in an exhibition game, to have 8 assists and 1 turnover against a quality opponent, that was a great start. But I love coaching Sean. He's a competitor at heart. I'm looking forward to taking this journey with him and the other guys.
Just looking back at the exhibition, and I know you talked about you were disappointed with the rebounding and some of the margins there. Just was there something common about some of those plays, kind of looking back on it, and if so, just how was that addressed in the base afterwards?
Yeah, it's whatever way you look at it. I can try to spin it positive and tell you that we were out rebounded significantly in the first half, but in the second half we seemed to compete a lot better. I think we might have got a +1 on them in the second half, if I'm not mistaken. On the other hand, you look at it as a 40-minute body of work, and so it was just kind of the game within the game that we didn't take care of. Illinois out rebounded us for the game, so it's a focal point. Right after the game when we sit up here and talk, I don't have the specifics, but after studying it, it's a combination of a lot of things. We're leaving too many second possessions on the floor offensively. We could have had at least another 8 to 10 offensive rebounds in that 40 minutes of play. So it's different things, just effort, guys not going. So we got to get that fixed. That's a non-negotiable. And then when you do go to the glass, having some type of strategy, not running into the blockout, getting to the other side of the basket, carving out some real estate in the middle. So a lot of specific things that we could spend a couple of days on here showing our guys. On the defensive side of the ball, much the same, just different things. Sometimes it's as simple as a one-on-one assignment, blocking a guy out. Sometimes it's a double block out or a rebound down. But the way we phrase it in our program is do your job. Every time a shot is taken, we have 5 Ole Miss players on the floor, and you got a job to do. Offensively, you're either a crasher or you're a get-back guy. And then defensively, we all have a job. And again, you might have a single block out, you might have a double block out, you might have a wedge block out, you might have to rebound down. It might turn into a 50-50 ball with like a Pender's tip. So I think for us, it's just discipline. I'm convinced that our guys understand what we want done. I'm convinced that they understand how to do it. But what I'm not convinced on is, do we have the discipline to do it every single time the shot goes up? Can you do your job? So that's kind of where we're at.
This sort of ties into what I want to ask you. Something you said after Illinois, the fate of this team is on the defensive side of the floor. Would you mind expanding on that?
Yeah, first of all, I think everybody would feel that way. I don't think there's a coach in the country right now saying, our fate's going to be offense. It's not the way our sport works. To win a championship, you have to win 6 games in 3 weekends. And when you think about that, 240 minutes or whatever it is, 40 times 6, 240, are you relying on great shooting every night? The game just doesn't work that way. The best shooters that have ever played this game at every level miss half their shots. And so, what you have to think about when you start thinking about that kind of mindset is you got to have a defense. So it's no different than I'm sure UConn's approach the last 2 years and their approach today in practice. No different than what Coach Barnes is thinking about in Tennessee or anywhere else. I mean, this game is a lot about your ability to get stops. So for me, our fate will be sealed on the defensive end, no different than anybody else.
Just looking ahead at Long Island and what you know about them, in what ways do you feel like they'll provide the biggest challenge? And just obviously going into the non-conference scheduling and all that, just what they do.
Yeah, here's what I know about Long Island. Utmost respect for Coach Strickland. First of all, just from a basketball standpoint, 17 years in the NBA, all-star. I grew up watching him. I've always been kind of attracted to what I call street dog. It's the biggest compliment I can give someone. He's just one of the greatest players of my generation, of our generation. So you know that. Then I have a lot of respect for his coaching journey. This isn't a guy that went straight from playing at the highest level to being handed something in terms of coaching. I mean, he's grinded it out. I was with Coach Calipari for years, assistant coach, and then very deserving of this opportunity. His teams play hard, period. Not a surprise, right? He's so competitive. He was such a hard player, but you can see that DNA. In terms of this year's team, he's got a good mix. He's got 4 returners. 2 played significant minutes last year. He had kind of an injury-type adversity season last year. Never really had the full team on the court at the same time, but you can see what would have been if everybody would have been together. They finished the year strong. They were more than competitive in their league. So they returned 4 players. 2 of those guys are basically kind of first-team all-conference players. A transfer that, played at a higher level. His son's a really good point guard. So you get 2 all-conference players, 4 returners. 2 talented freshmen that we don't know much about. Just remember them for a little bit from the circuit, but I know they're athletic, and you can tell what he's building. They're long and athletic guys. And then just like all of us, he's got some transfers, I think 6 transfers. A guy that played in the SEC at Georgia, some guys that were all conference players at their leagues. He had a great addition to his coaching staff. He added one of the most respected guys in the country, a sitting head coach, to come be his assistant or associate head coach. And Coach brought 2 players along with him. So it's an older team. It won't be the last time we're talking about that this year. A lot of older teams in college basketball. They've got returners. They've got great coaching. So we'll have to play well. They have a style of play. Coach Strickland's teams are aggressive defensively. And then on offense, I'm sure they'll have great spacing. Have not seen their team this year play. It's always a challenge with the first game, but just kind of piecing it together with personnel and studying coaches' kind of history. I think it's going to be a test. Opening night, this team has our full attention. We'll have to play well, no different than any other game.
There's a narrative around you that your teams improve in year 2. There's a year 2 leap. I guess I don't know how much you buy into that or have felt that yourself, but how much easier is it to go into year 2 when you've kind of had some culture built and some familiarity built?
Yeah, I don't say this in a personal, boastful way, but I'm proud of that. All the coaches we've had on our staff and the players that we've had that returned for year 2 and the players that came and played for us. Their first year was our year 2, but yeah, no doubt about it. I think the last 2 or 3 times that we've returned to year 2, we've had some success. We've built teams that I think went to a Sweet 16, and then 2 Elite 8s were the teams that we built. So yeah, we don't shy away from that. Don't say it in a self-promoting way, but you asked the question. We have a lot of confidence. And so it's going to be about our 3 groups of players, these returners, the new transfers, and the new freshmen. Can we become a team? But we have high expectations year 2. I don't know if it's easier because there's nothing easy in this deal. But I do think there's some possible advantages year 2. I mean, you're not spending time on things that you have to spend year 1. I've said it before. Year 1, somebody wants to meet me at Boo Ray's for lunch. I'm using my GPS. And now I don't have to use my GPS. I can talk on the phone on the way to Boo Ray's and try to knock something out in that 6-minute commute. So, but yeah, you got a foundation built. You would hope to think that that's an advantage. They're not going to give us any points on the scoreboard for it, but we're coaching some guys we've coached before. Those guys understand the expectations. So yeah, I hope there's a small advantage that we have some returners.
I guess obviously the Tadpad game, honoring Bob Weltlich and his teams and all that. I know y'all were both Coach Knight disciples. Just how often have y'all kind of crossed paths or conversations over the last couple of years and all that sort of stuff? And throughout this kind of process, just what makes Bob Weltlich, kind of a special coach and kind of fits that mold.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for Coach Weltlich. I would say we're friends. We're both in the Coach Knight family. Proud of that. We've got some parallels. Coached at Texas, coached at South Alabama. Some different levels, some places that we've been, the guys on our staff. He obviously had a championship program here at Ole Miss. So many great stories I've learned in my first year and a half here about him and his teams. He's still very loved in his family and the community. He put some good teams on the court here. They were championship contenders and had some really, really good players. One of his assistant coaches back in those days, Eddie Orn, is a mentor of mine. Eddie, in a lot of ways, is the reason I'm a college coach. There's just a lot of connection. So in this game, to bring Coach back and his family, a lot of the players that played for him, some of his assistant coaches, student managers, trainers, season ticket holders that were friends with Coach Weltlich during those days, getting them re-involved in our program, it's going to be pretty cool. So I thought the first year TADPAD for Coach Evans was special, and we're looking to celebrate another kind of time period in Ole Miss basketball with Coach Weltlich. So Coach will come in the day before that game. We'll spend some time with him. We've got some events set up for him. Looking forward to him being able to talk to our team about his experience at Ole Miss and his experience in college basketball. The opponent is just can't say we did this by design, but it worked out pretty cool because the opponent, South Alabama, is another place that Coach Weltlich, ran a successful championship contender type program. So we're looking forward to that TADPAD game. We appreciate the season ticket holders, understanding that's not a part of the season ticket package. So many of our season ticket holders have already stepped up and bought tickets. There's a select few tickets available now, so I'd really recommend people get them sooner than later. Student section will still be free with your student ID. Last year, we basically had a capacity student section, so we're anticipating that. In preparation for that, we're offering the students a pretty cool deal. Come to opening night, Monday's 7:30 game. Come to the second game of the season, 6 o'clock on Friday. Then each kid, the students will get like a wooden nickel. That wooden nickel will give them priority access then on Tuesday to the TADPAD game. So those are some things going on with the TADPAD game and Coach Weltlich's return.
Good. All right.
Appreciate you guys.